Hi guys, and welcome back to part 6 of the annular monoplane build. This is the one we've all been waiting for, the start of the wings. I've sort of genned up a little bit on how it goes together, but it's not entirely clear. Basically I'm there, but so first thing to do is I've got to make some templates for the leading edge, trailing edge and 2 main spars, which are all a different size. How am I going to do it? I'm going to laminate it. The leading and trailing edges are laminated out of 5 laminations of 1/64 ply 1/16 balsa, and the main spars are 2 laminations of 1/16 balsa. So even those laminations are going to be strong because they're laminated, so that'll add a lot of strength. So anyway, let me bend you down and you can see what I'm thinking. This piece of foam board is just the right size to encompass everything I need. What I'm going to do, I'm going to produce 4 templates. This one, and then immediately this one, and then the outer main spar, and finally the outer leading edge feeds into the trailing edge. So I'm going to end up with 4 cuts, and then I'm going to laminate each piece onto the edge of the foam board. So that's easily done. So first of all, I'm going to set it up. I'm going to do that by sliding it underneath. Under it goes, like that. May as well put a block on it. Use these blocks for everything. If you don't know, they're called 1, 2, 3 blocks, available on Amazon. Brilliant. We all use them now. It's also a good idea to not cut the template to the perfect size, but go longer than you need, because you're going to want to take your laminations past the cut point. So I'm going to put a pin there, put the pin in there, right down into the building board. I'll leave these in like this. That one there. This one here is I'm going to build the one lamination on the inside and the other lamination on the outside. So, because it's easier to build a lamination, I think, on the outside of a curve than on the inside of the curve. I might be wrong. Anyway, that's not going anywhere now, so I can now just run lots of pinpricks in and cut out the formers. So I'll be back very soon. Okay, finished pinning. So let's have a look. Once I've taken it off, there's no going back. No going back now. Okay, that looks good. All these lovely dots. I'm going to extend them. These pinholes are the last ones, but I'm going to extend them. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it by hand, and then just in a little bit, and then put the board under to finish it off. So keep the blade as upright as you can for laminations. Because otherwise your lamination's going to be bent forward or back. I'll continue around, guys, and I'll come back to you when I've got something to show you. I cut it out, and I'm now going to mark it up because I don't want to forget what I'm doing. What should we call it? The leading edge. I mark front on there, and then I know that's the front of it. So this is the leading edge. This is the trailing edge. Actually, no, it's the other way around. God, this is confusing. This is the trailing edge, And this is the leading edge as it goes around. A couple of little wobbles here, I'll just sand those out. So that takes care of that. Now, inner main spar, it's going to be built on here. So this is the inner spar. That's going to be built around this outside edge. This is the, well, front and back. I think this one is going to be the front main spar, which is going to be built on this edge. Okay, all the way around. Let's just mark the inner spar up as well. Going to be built on that edge. That edge. This edge is going to be the outer spar. To that edge. Okay. And then the leading edge is going to be built on this edge. Leading edge on that edge there. The reason I'm marking it with arrows is so as I don't accidentally do it on the wrong side. That's my 4 templates. So the inner spar and the outer spar are going to be made out of 1/16 by 3/8, I think it was, balsa laminated together, and the trailing edge is going to be the balsa lamination, balsa 1/16 ply. Don't cut them to the exact lengths, by the way, because as they go around, they get the lengths change quite considerably. You'll be amazed. So cut them over length. I'm not sure how far that is around there. Sort of do a rough. Because my piece of 0.4mm ply is only 3 feet long. Actually, I'll tell you what we can do. We can just bend it right around to see, because I'll probably have to join it. Yeah, it's going to be a foot short. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to join it inside the laminations, but the joins on each piece is going to be a long way from the other joins. So it'll be nice and strong. I think I might start with the balsa laminations. That is to say the inner spar, main spar, and the outer main spar. So I'll put these 2 templates, weird templates, aren't they? I've never made laminations that big, but the principle remains the same. There are more than one way to make laminations. You can either do as Mark Robinson did on one occasion. He laid them all up, glued them all together, soaked them, used white glue, which is slower to dry, laid them all up in one big sandwich on the bench, and then went around his template, which worked quite well. Sometimes I'll lay them on one at a time, gluing them up one at a time and put them in. But you know, I quite like the idea of doing that, but the white glue I've got, well, it is quicker drying, but if you make the balsa wet, then it slows the whole process down. So just before I go any further, I'm going to just sand this edge, use that as a block. Just going to sand and get the corners out the way. And by doing this also it makes the edge I'm working on absolutely flat, just in case the knife varied as it went and cut around. Tried not to, but a little lump there. I'll take that one off. I'll just go around the whole perimeter just to make sure it's upright. There is something worth thinking about, and that is the height of these main spars. I think is 3/8, that's 10mm, and this board's only 6, so it's going to be a little bit of wobbling going on at the top. To stop it sticking to the board, you can either put sellotape around all the way around the edge. That would work. I might do that. Let me do the other one, and I think what I'll do, I'll get it ready, I'll get all the bits cut, and then when we're ready to actually do the laminating, I'll come back to you. I've protected the plan, I've pinned down my former in the correct place. I've cut stripped up some 3/8 for 1/16 and 3/8 by 0.4 ply. It is, in fact, I thought it was 2 laminations of 1/16, but it's actually got 0.4 ply in the middle, which makes sense. So what I thought I might do, I've damped this off, and I'm going to laminate it in one place like this, and then while it's still flexible, I'm going to pin it around the shape. I think I ought to pin down this plastic as well. It's going to ruckle up a bit. Also, I better damp off this wood as well, plywood. Okay, I think the best way to put this on is just going to be to put it on and work as quickly as I can. Not sure if you could see, coming around a little bit. Because I've damped the wood, it'll stop the glue from soaking in and drying before I've got it all together. In actual fact, what I think I'll also do is not smear it out for the minute. I'll keep it in a long line. I've got a scarf joint in the plywood just here. Right, so let's just smear it out. I'm going to use my finger because it's the quickest, easiest method I know. Same with the plywood. Right. Lay that on there. Lay that on there. Level. Pin it together. Pin it. Rub it together. So now, there's my laminations. I can get a pin. And I can put it just there. That, making sure it's well past the place where I need it to be, and bend it around. Because the wood's damp, the glue isn't soaking in, and it's going lovely. Very nice. And in fact, it's holding its shape so perfectly that that's it, job done. So I'm just making sure that all 3 parts are at the same level, and tomorrow morning I'll come back to that and it'll be dry. Now the next one, the other main spar, I've cut the wood already. It's all stripped up, ready to go. And I suppose it might be an idea to make 2 pairs of everything while I'm at it. Something else I can get on with while all this is drying is to actually make the wing ribs, which I haven't done yet. but I have got the templates cut ready to sandwich method the ribs up. 1/16 ply. So simple as that. So when I've got all the bits made, I'll come back to you. Cheers guys. This is amazing. I've cut some blanks and I think I'm doing this right. I'm not sure, but I'm going for it anyway. So the ribs, this is the sandwich method where you would normally have a rib each side, as indeed I have got, but the ribs are reversed. So you've got the leading edge that side, and on this side the leading edge is that side. So because it has to change as it goes around, which is why you have to produce them this way. So I'm just easing it down with the David plane, and then I'll get the sandpaper on it and sand it down to the ribs, down to the when I put them together. You can put a nut and bolt through, but I usually just put a pin through each side, and it holds it okay. I think I'm going to have to stop there actually and start sanding. Maybe a little bit more this side. It's all an experiment. Let's get the coarse block on it. We just clear off some of this just quickly. Now, I'm just going to you can make the ribs out of your template ribs out of aluminium if you want. I just sand carefully down till I get to the ribs. The thing is, when you only have a small number of ribs between the templates, the angle of the top of the ribs is quite steep, so you then have to sort of flatten them off a little bit. So it's always good to make them a little bit bigger, perhaps. Make the template slightly bigger. I mean, we'll see what we get with this anyway. This is really weird doing this. Okay, I think that will do for the minute. That's a really weird, very strange set of ribs. I've made up a second set of main spars. The first set is here. It's come out really nice actually. Yeah, it's ready to go in. But I thought while I've got the templates and everything, and sizes, let's make up the other set, the other side, and then I can crack on with the two edges, leading and trailing edges on the templates. Okay, back soon. Quick shot guys, I've just fitted the leading and trailing edge on the port wing, and we'll let that dry. Quite a long piece this one, and it took a fair amount of, well, I'm glad I did that one last because it was hanging off the bench, but it all went really well. So yeah, I'll let that one set and I'll pop it off the board and do the other one. Then I can start looking at assembling some of the wings ribs. Right, I think things are dried guys, so let's just unpin. We've got a slight breach in the laminations there. Push some glue into that and glue it, peg it. Same a little bit there as well. This one looks pretty good. So let's pop the pins out. It's worth putting the sellotape around the edge, especially if you're going to use it again. Gosh, this feels so strong. Really, I mean incredibly strong. Before I use them, I'm going to sand them flat on the bottom, and then it'll sit down flat on the board, because there's always going to be slight inconsistencies even though you've pushed it down. The outside piece on this is balsa, the inside is ply. On this one, the inside is ply and the outside is balsa, because the balsa has to form the final part of the leading edge. You can't start sanding ply into a nice round piece there. So again, put that to one side. Now we don't need it. That took quite a bit of plywood actually. I was surprised. By the time you've stripped up all the bits you need, you're left with not a lot. Now the wing construction can start proper. So before I do start, I'll need some of these components. This is the port front piece, that's that piece there. So I've marked them all up, otherwise it's going to get a bit confusing. That's that piece there. This is one of the main spars, starboard front. Don't need that. Starboard over there. Starboard. These are all my port pieces. Port front. Port front. Okay. It's great, isn't it? Look at all this. So that's the piece there, and that's that piece there. These are a bit more flexible, being only balsa wood, one bit of ply in the front. Wow, you get a real feel for it all of a sudden. Look at that. Oh, okay. As I said, I'm going to sand the bottom of these first, get them nice and flat. And having plywood in there, I'm going to use something reasonably coarse. Now I notice this one has actually contracted a bit from when I made it. It's no big deal, but put a little bit of pressure on the ribs, won't it? In case you're wondering, the leading edge just butts into the fuselage, just 1/8 of an inch. There are no dihedral braces or anything. The rigging is actually, I suppose it could be load bearing a little bit, because what's to stop the wing from flapping up and down apart from the fact it's just glued in? So the rigging will be partially functional, quite a lot functional actually. Now it might be an idea to get some of these ribs off, to use the spacers to get it really accurately placed. I think they originally called for 1/16 ribs, but I made them out of 3/32 because I got lots of that. So it's not going to make any difference. So it would go like that. Yeah, and then as they come around, so the leading edge becomes the trailing edge. I only need one for the minute, and I also need this spar roughly in position. Now, is that going to go over there? Yeah, it's a nice snug fit, which is what we want to see. I think I can afford to go. Yeah, that's about it there. I've got a big tail there I can cut off, so that's no problem. That one's going to go there. Okay. What I think I'll do is to put a pin either side of that. This rib's going to set the position, I think, for the spars. I can bend them around a little bit and pin them in place now. Although I could do with another one up here, really, couldn't I? What I think I'll do is to pop all the ribs in, pin them down, get these, because that's cut off there, so I'm not worried about anything that doesn't quite go in. It's fascinating, isn't it? Which side did I just take that from? Well, it was this side, of course. Let's just open that up very slightly. Wow, every rib I put in just looks more amazing than the last one. I don't know. Haven't made any other ribs yet, so I have to go away and cut some more blanks and put them in. Normally I'd put sort of one at this end to hold it, but as each rib is, as each rib is slightly different shape to the next one, you can't just pick a rib and put it in. Each rib is designed for its own particular part of the structure, so as they go around, so the leading edge becomes the trailing edge. Just pop one of the blocks on there, I think. I'll just get the rest of these in, guys, that I've cut, and then we'll come back and have a look. I think that looks pretty amazing. It's fascinating actually to see the height changing as you go around, starting off the correct height there and the correct height at the back. The back is here, the correct height. So I've got to take off quite a bit of trailing edge there, and as it goes further around, so this trailing edge is going to start to dip down, but I haven't made those ribs yet. Interestingly, the ribs are longer on the plan here, and I've just measured the plan, and it does seem to be a slightly different curve. The ribs are 7.5 inches long, but the gap between the leading and trailing edges gets smaller as it goes around the middle, so I'm not worried. I'll just stick it where it sticks. But there we are. I think because of the pressure, very slight pressure for this one, but this one's under a bit more pressure, I will glue. I will use white glue for a bit of strength, and if I feel like it's under a little bit more strength pressure than it needs to be, I might put gussets in the corner here just to make sure things are nice. But I don't see there's any reason why I can't glue these ribs and then go away and cut the next set of blanks. Doesn't that look amazing? It's so different, so different. The guy in the magazine, he built his as removable wing halves without the rigging. and he used sort of ply boxes to for it all to key into. But I definitely want to put rigging on. I'll make it as a one-piece model, but I'm slightly concerned the lack of dihedral braces, I've got to say. I mean, there's no reason why I couldn't put a piece of 1/16 ply right through the fuselage and connect up these main spars. I'll have to think about that, but I'm going to glue these in with white glue right now because I want to do it. I want to build it. And what I think I might do is to ease these ribs a little bit. See, I don't know if you've noticed, when you use white glue, if I use 3 of these fingerboards together, that they're just the right width. When you use white glue, the balsa wood kind of like expands ever so slightly. Let's get some pins in here in the main spar there. That holds it back that way. That's not moving. I wonder if I can just push these on as I go around, pinning as I go. Might be an idea. Save pinning it in place and then trying to squeeze the rib in. So let's get the glue down. I'll leave that end rib for the minute, since now it's all pinned in. I tell you what, I'm going to make a little pool of white glue up because I want to dip in for the end grain, make sure it's absolutely as good as it can be. This aeroplane has just been so different, isn't it? It's so unusual and so much fun. God, it's a too tight fit. Oops, let's just sort that out a bit. Okay, I think I might CA these inside ones. Just weigh these down a little bit. 321 blocks. Pin and glue. One there, put that on there like that. Sometimes I'm asked, where do you use epoxy and where do you use white glue and where would you use CA? You could use, the difference in the glues is CA can be a little bit brittle sometimes, and just sometimes it might just, I don't know, it's just brittle. Whereas white glue's got a little bit of give to it, a little bit of sort of bounce if you like. I'm going to put this pin right through diagonally. Hold it down. And white glue gives you more time to work, whereas CA, if you need an instant bond, like I'm going to sometimes use, then you might want to use CA. I use a combination, as you can see. I mean, CA wicks in beautifully. Look, let's just get that in position and just put CA all in there. and that will wick into the joint. We'll do it both sides. One in there. In there. Sometimes you can use CA as like a fluid pin, so it sort of instantly bonds bits while the white glue's drying, as in this case. So I know that's nice and flat, and I know that that's excuse me, I know that this is not going to move now. But one thing you do need with CA is a good joint. You can get different viscosities of CA. This is just the medium. To be honest, I've never used anything else. Talking of CA, these little pipettes you can get for the end are brilliant, because when you use them, when you squeeze, when you let the bottle go, it pulls it all back in, so the nozzle stays pretty clear. As in when it does choke up, you just cut 2 or 3 millimeters off the end and you're good to go again. I use Everbuild industrial grade super glue, general purpose. I get this from Toolstation. It's £2 or £3, something like that. It does have a shelf life, used by shelf life 12 months. But pop it in the deep freeze and you've got shelf life of 10 years if you want. So and it doesn't take, I don't know, 5 minutes. Seems to take 5 minutes to defrost. Right, I'm going to put the next 4 and that one in, guys, and then I'm going to go away and cut some more ribs, and then I'll come back and we'll pop a few more in. So thanks for watching. If you are enjoying this rather unusual build, you can give the video a thumbs up, a like, helps with the algorithms, and if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. A lot of you aren't subscribed that regularly watch my channel. If this is the 3rd time you're watching one of my videos and you're not subscribed, then shame on you. Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out the memberships, that would be cool too. Okay guys, see you back in a minute. Good progress then, guys. I've dropped the other ribs in and I've just made up, these are paired up. This last rib here goes out to the trailing edge of the fixed part of the elevon. So I'm just going to glue that together and glue it in. There's a certain degree of what's the word, allowance here. It's not allowance actually. That rib is doubled up, so that's that. I'm just going to do the end grains. I'll do the end grain of that one now, although I won't be gluing it for a while, and we'll just put a little bit inside here. Inside there. I'll splash a little bit of white glue in there. A little bit there while I've got it. Oh, tell a lie, I've made a slight mistake there. The inner one has to be cut short. Yeah, forgot about that. It's got to be cut. Trying to guess in the angle a little bit. Any angle's better than no angle. There we go. So that will go in there. It doesn't look bad actually, it doesn't look far out, so let's glue it in. You've got to kind of keep your wits about you when you're doing this. I learned another subtle technique change when I did. Let's just put some glue in that end grain. As I was preparing, oh, you might have noticed I'm gluing all these in with white glue, by the way. Just fancy the change. So I'll put a pencil line on the front of all the ribs just before I took it off the templates, because I noticed that when I was gluing it around and all this sort of stuff, I was forgetting now which was the leading edge, and the ones that are near the as they come around to the middle there could be either or. So I thought I'll put a pencil line on there, and it worked well because I did lose track of where I was a couple of times, so it was worth doing. There we are, that's nice. Let's just wipe some of that surplus back into the join. A bit there, let's just pop a peg on there, I think. Peg there. Let's put that weight down there. A bit delicate, that one, so you watch out until the trailing edge is on. It's going to be vulnerable to breaking. There's a piece of 1/4 inch here which forms the trailing edge, if you like, and yeah, it stops against that rib. So let's just quickly, I think I've already put, yeah, I did. Right, so I'm going to cut that rib off. I think this rib down here is going to benefit from a gusset. I think I'll fit a gusset down in this bottom corner, guys, because it's nothing holding it together for now, and it's under a little bit of tension there, so I don't want it to do anything silly. I don't know how many of you guys get notifications, because I put quite a lot of information up for the channel members on the community tab. You might want to check that out. Right, when that's dry, I can trim the back there. So I've got to find a bit of what do we got here? This bit is panelled in with balsa, and that's panelled in with balsa. There's another rib to go in there. What one's that then? Time to look at the plan, I think. Right, I think there's another R4 to go in there. And I've got one marked out on this sheet here, so let's cut her out. That straight in, that one, beautiful. Beautiful. The original aeroplane showing a torque rod going down to the elevons. I'm just going to set a couple of servos in the wing here and can operate it direct, as is the modern way. Goes, I need a pin, comes up to there, goes into there, that goes into there. Oh, I love it when everything fits. Put that right across there like that. I think I'm drawing to a point where, oh, actually, I was going to say where there's not much more work to do to the fuselage, due to the wing, but I think there is actually. I think I can put this trailing edge in. It's a trailing edge that goes onto the, butts onto the aileron, sorry. And that's that's half by half, really. Seems excessive. It says 1/4. Yeah, probably is actually. But I mean, everything has to be sanded. Oh, there's a rib to go in the front here as well, R5, which is just to cut down one of these. It's looking pretty good, isn't it? I'm quite pleased. Yeah, as I said, you've got to keep your wits about you. as the ribs change shape. So mark it up, but they seem to be fitting really well. I'm really pleased with that. I love the shape. It's very, very odd. Oh, where you going? Come back. There we are. It's very, very odd, isn't it? So yeah, enjoying the build. Probably come back to you when I'm building the other wing, because it's a lot of work to do with no filming going on. So thanks for watching, guys. Excellent. Good. Thank you.